Okay, so the first thing we need to do is just draw a cylinder. And I'll show you the way that I usually draw them. I typically do kind of like a kind of flattened oval. And then I draw the sides. And then at the bottom, you kind of like round it off. So it's not a straight across bottom to it, but you round it off, and then you add in like a dotted line to show the inside part of it. Okay? So it should give you something resembling a cylinder. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not going to require you, except for in your notes, to draw these shapes. And then as we're finding the volume of cylinders, there are two things that we need. Obviously, we're going to have a formula, but we will need to know the height of the cylinder and its radius. Now, if I were given the cylinder's diameter, could I find the radius?
Yes.
Yeah, because we know that the radius is what?
Half of the diameter.
Half of the diameter. Or the diameter is 2 times the radius. Okay? All right, so we're going to add in another formula. And like I've said before, the hardest part of this chapter is not really solving for area or volume or surface area, but it's going to be remembering these formulas. So that's why I would really suggest making flashcards or using Quizlet or something like that. Okay, so the formula for the volume of a cylinder is pi times r squared times h, or pi times the radius squared times the height. So just so we make sure we know what all we'll be plugging in, what's our value for pi?
3.14.
Mm-hmm. What does r stand for? Radius. And what does h stand for? Mm-hmm. So we'll multiply pi times the radius squared times the height. All right, let's look at an example. Go ahead and draw that cylinder. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. Do your best. Okay, so remind me, what's the first step that I always tell you to do when you're solving? Yeah, you need to rewrite the formula. So what is the formula to find the volume of a cylinder? Tiger? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, does anyone remember what that second step that I told you to do was? Tanner? Yeah, you're going to plug in your values. You're not going to solve anything yet. Just plug all of your numbers in. So what do I use for pi? Mm-hmm. What's my radius?
13.
So I'll write it as 13 squared. And what's my height? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the first thing, or the second thing, I guess, that you would do. You would plug in all of those values. Now, according to order of operations, what do I need to do first? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to rewrite, and I'm going to say 3.14 times, what's 13 squared? 169 times 21. Okay, when I say show your work, this is what I mean. I should see all of these steps. Okay? So then all you have to do is multiply those together. And when you do that, raise your hand if you can tell me what the volume will be. Liam, what's the volume? Mm-hmm. And how do I write my units? What is cm? Centimeters cubed. Good. You guys know cm stands for centimeters. All right. Are there any questions so far? All right. Let's look at another one. Go ahead and draw this one. Okay, now I see my height, but it doesn't give me the radius, does it?
You do the diameter.
It gives me the diameter, which is what?
50 inches.
It's 50 inches. So how do I figure out what my radius is? Chandler? Mm-hmm. So what is 50 divided by 2? Mm-hmm. Okay? So now I've got my height and my radius. So I've got everything I need to solve for the volume. So, Gavin, what's my formula for the volume of a cylinder? Mm-hmm. There's step 1. Okay, step 2. Here, okay? Mm-hmm. So when I do that, what should it say? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. What's my next step? Kylie? Mm-hmm. What is 25 squared? So how am I going to write my next step? Mm-hmm. All right. Now what's my last step? Zoe? Multiply them all together. All right. And when I multiply all of those together, what do I get, Maddie?
60,837.45.
Mm-hmm. How do I write my units? Preston? Inches cubed. Good. Okay. Do y'all have any questions on that? Like I said, it's pretty simple. You just got to remember these formulas.